So right now I'm at the number 5 pavilion where all the luxury brands for fashion, cosmetics, and of course cars are showcasing their products. And with me today is Mr. Yann Bozec. He is the president of Tapestry Asia Pacific. So Tapestry is a house of brands that include Coach, Kate Spade, and also Stuart Weitzman. So Yann, as we can see here, the popularity of this pavilion, it shows that China's consumption is upgrading constantly, and Chinese consumers are getting more and more sophisticated. How are you tailoring to their needs?
I think first, it's not so much a trend of the past few years. I mean, it's a trend that we observe for more than a decade. I think even 10 years ago, the government sent a direction about the fact that quantity was not necessarily the most important. And I know they were speaking about GDP growth, but they replaced by quality of growth, quality of product, quality of service, quality of life overall. And I think part of the journey that the Chinese customer is doing is just improving his quality of life. And I think every brand have to be laser focused and pay super attention about where are they going into this journey and provide exquisite product with a super high level of quality, and in the same time continue to evolve with them and walk the journey with them about how they want to engage with brands.
And despite the the people we see here, China's consumption market is still recovering from the pandemic, and we're still feeling the impact from the pandemic. And e-commerce and digitalization has been a big help to that. So what are you doing in terms of digitalization?
I think first, I mean, we all know that the e-commerce in China is one of the biggest in the world. And this growth over the last 10 years again have been phenomenal. I mean, Coach has always been and wanted to be at the forehead. I mean, we opened our Coach.com e-commerce back in 2012, 10 years ago.
Wow, that's
we were
early.
The first brand to open our own WeChat account, a Coach account, back also in 2012. And now more recently, we definitely enter and explore with a lot of platforms like Douyin. We are the first brand also to open an e-commerce store flagship on Douyin. So we know that the landscape of e-commerce continue to evolve. We know also that the customer want to continue to interact with brand. And at one moment there was a bit of conversation about, will e-commerce eat everybody and is it the end of the brick and mortar store? We don't know that. We don't see that. And we see in fact the opposite. We see that the customers still want to visit store, but also want to be connected online. I mean, in Coach, in the old time, we're saying that we build a brand by two people, a bit like you and me, one customer, one sales associate around one product within the four walls of one store. That remains true, except that today, we're leveraging the power of digitalization. The connection and the conversation doesn't have to be necessarily in store. 4 years ago, we realized that a lot of our sales associates really wanted to become brand ambassador. They were very proud about our brands, and they were posting product and innovation on their social media. We decided, in fact, to help them and do extensive training, and now we have more than 500 in-house KOL, which are also working in our store. We're able to do live stream, but also connecting with their customer in a very seamless way, both in the store or back at home through social media.
So they definitely complement each other. They're not competitors.
They are not competing each other.
Another trend we're observing is that there are a lot of Chinese brands gaining popularity. What are you doing, and how do you position yourself in the face of that?
So first and foremost, I think we're very, very respectful about a lot of the work that a lot of Chinese brands have done. Since we enter and drive the business here more than 10 years ago, we don't consider China only as a market, but we really consider China as a source of inspiration and innovation, based on product, based on customer experience. I mean, digitalization. China is by far the most advanced digital country in the world. And we are observing and staying relevant. When we look about innovation in China, and when we look about what is happening in the world of modern art, what is happening in the world of fashion, I mean, we are tempted to say that in a similar way that in the 1980s, maybe thing that was coming from Japan was cool, Now, I believe, from the 2020 to 2050, things that will come from China will be cool. We even call that the China Cool. And we started, in fact, in 2018, having our first runway show outside of our home in New York, in Shanghai, collaborating with 4 Chinese artists to help giving a bit of a stronger voice to those.
So bring the China element into your products. That's the strategy there. Thank you so much.